Rhode Island. If you or someone you know is a CNA or a home health aide or a traveling nurse and they're injured in a car accident traveling between appointments with clients, do they qualify for workers' comp? They might. Here's how. Back in January of 1991, there was an employee, a woman last name Tulin, who was employed as a nursing assistant for a company known as Aquidneck Medical Resources. Her duties involved providing care for patients in their own homes. She received a weekly schedule from Aquidneck, which directed her to the location and the timing of her assignments. Using her own vehicle, she would travel and drive directly to each patient's home and assist the patient as needed for the prescribed number of hours. She received an hourly wage for the actual time she spent at each patient's home. She was not paid for travel time, nor was she reimbursed for any travel related expenses. Well, unfortunately, on January 9th, 1991, after having worked at the home of one patient in Newport, she left that patient's home at approximately 10 a.m. While she was traveling through Portsmouth en route to her next assignment in Tiverton, she was involved in a very serious car crash. As a result, she was rendered totally incapacitated and unable to work. So she filed a claim for comp, and naturally, the workers' comp carrier tried to fight it, saying that while she was between jobs and she's not compensated for her travel time between jobs, so therefore, if she's not compensated, how could she possibly be within the scope of her employment? And the Rhode Island Supreme Court disagreed and coined the issue as whether or not an employee who was injured while traveling in between one job site to another at their employer's direction and who is not compensated for travel time or reimbursed for travel expenses is acting within the scope of their employment. That's the question they had to answer. So what was the rule that the court applied in this case? Well, they determined that they have held in the past that an employee is entitled to compensation benefits if it can be demonstrated that a causal connection exists between the injuries sustained and the employment. So because they found that the injury occurred at a place where her employer would have expected the employee to be, given that she's traveling in between locations for patients, paying patients, people that pay her employer, the court found that her injury was compensable. So if you know someone who's a CNA or a nurse or a traveling home health aide and they're injured going between patients, you definitely want to contact a comp lawyer and don't just call it a day. Give me a call. Call somebody, all right? Because you might have a case. So again, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share.